Hello and welcome back. In today's video we're going to feature this particular padlock, and this is a Union padlock. I'm not sure of the model number. I've got a couple of numbers there on the key. I don't think that's the model number. It just says Union, made in England, lubricate with graphite, and that's about it. I bought a couple of locks on eBay recently, and the one I was after wasn't this one, but this one came with it. I didn't really look at this lock, and when it arrived I was pleasantly surprised. It's nice to have a brass padlock, and this one had been polished up to within an inch of its life. You can see it's had a hard life. You've got all these knocks and bumps, and they all give it character. I myself, it's just quite nice because all of these bumps and dings tell a story. I'm not sure what that story is, but obviously this lock has had a hard life. Now, when it arrived, it had been polished on the outside, but the lock did not operate very well. I think it had been, I don't know, filled with graphite or some sort of crud or crasp or something. The core was really stiff, and also the shackle didn't pop. As you can see now, it does pop. But I quite like kind of cleaning up the padlocks and getting them working again. So it was just a nice little project for me to get on with now. The reason the shackle wasn't working, you can probably see, it's difficult on video, but the shackle was completely bent. I'm trying to sort of hold the lock square. You can just see the shackle kind of dips down in relation to the body. And that was what was causing the problem. It was actually rubbing just there, so that when you, just on this side of the shackle. Yeah, you can see it sits quite close just there. But it was, I think, where it had been hit or bent and it had pulled the shackle over to this side, it just jammed the shackle up against the body, so that when you turned the core, the shackle didn't pop. You had to physically pull it out. So what I did is I bathed it in a bath full of diesel, just to sort of wash all the crap out of it. Periodically taking it out, jiggling the pins, operating the lock and the shackle, and then left it in diesel again. So it was in there just soaking for a couple of days. I washed it all out with isopropyl alcohol, and it seemed to be operating pretty well. I then took a file to this part of the shackle, and just took a little bit off of it, just enough so that when you turn the key, release the shackle, it pops out. Anyway, why I'm waffling on about all of this is because I think picking locks sometimes it's quite simple. You know, you're just lifting up, finding the gap between the key pin and the driver pin. In this case, we've got a 5-pin lock, relatively easy bitting, so it should be an easy pick. But when you get locks like this that have spent a long time out in the wild, out in the elements, being abused, knocked and bashed, they just really don't pick very well at all. You don't get the clear, crisp feedback. You don't get, 4 individual clicks. I don't believe this has got security pins in it. And so if this was a brand new lock out of the factory, you could put a bit of tension on it. Grab your hook. I'll grab this dick pick. Grab your hook, and you just feel for a binding pin. Lift up, click, lift up, click, lift up, click 5 times, and you'll probably get this padlock open, being as it doesn't have security pins. But of course, that's not the case when it's been abused. I've tried to clean this out as best I can. You can't gut this, so it's just been soaking in diesel, washed out. I've not been able to get in there and clean all the pins, and the pins themselves are probably well worn from the key, from all of the years of use that it's had, and so you get marks on the pins, which mean that they don't you don't get a single click out of them. They can almost feel like serrated pins. And this one here, you've got to put some reasonable tension on it, and you get quite a few clicks out of the pins to get it open. So I'm going to get this in the vise, and I'll demonstrate that, and hopefully we can get him open. So I've got them rigged up in the vise now, hopefully with a good, so you've got a good view of what's going on. I'll just lock the focus on the keyway. I've got a couple of different picks down here. The keyway on this is fairly open. This is a 19 thousandths door lock pick, and I think you can get all the way in there. So we'll go off the bottom of the keyway. I'm going to put some pretty stout tension on. Actually, I'm going to go quite light first of all, thinking about it. 1, 2. So I get a couple of little clicks in there. I think it's just because those those pins, they almost act like tapered or serrated pins. There you go, 3 clicks on that third pin. Yeah, serrated or tapered, so you've got to give them several nudges to get them to the point that you want them. Because I think they just bind all the way up the chamber. You don't get that nice smooth travel as you lever your pick up and a single click to set the pin at the end of it. So I've still got the light tension and it seems to be doing alright actually. And now everything's kind of gone dead. I can still feel my key pins. I think that's 3 or 4. Feels stiff. Yeah, if you stop feeling your key pins, it means you've overset. And I think that is a real danger with this lock, because you don't get that nice click when it reaches shear line. So if you haven't picked up on it or moved on to another pin, you're in danger of oversetting it, just sort of ramming that key pin up into the Bible. Right, I'm not getting much now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten up on the tension, and I'm just going to sort of zip with my pick to see if I can just dislodge any of those pins that are sticking. And there we go, that was the way to get this one open. So yeah, when I was feeling that, the pins all felt like they were set. You got real sort of mushy, mudded feedback in there. But I think that one or a couple of them were almost at shear line, but not quite. So yeah, just by zipping through those pins, I was just able to knock them just that extra distance just to get them to the shear line. So there you go. It wasn't too bad of a pick. I'm sure if I'd have tried picking it when I first got it, I'll just sort that focus out. Yeah, if I'd have tried doing that when I first got it, I would have struggled even more, because of course, as I say, the shackle wasn't popping. So I might have even, that's always a nice cue when you're picking a lock to know that you've actually picked it. But yeah, it turned and the shackle didn't used to open. And of course it had plenty of gunk in there, which would have muddied the feedback even more. Anyway, it was a nice bonus lock, that one, and I think it's probably going to stay in my collection for a while. I do like these brass shackles. Anyway, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you on the next one. You thought I'd gone, but I hadn't. I just thought, since we've got such a linear bitting on this key, it might be fun to get the wave rake out, because that pretty much lines up, doesn't it, with the bitting? So I thought it wouldn't be too difficult to rake this. But that said, I'm not the best at raking. Let's give it a go. I don't think we've got security pins in here, spools or anything like that for it to get hung up on. But maybe he doesn't want to open up that way. I don't get enough. Oh, I thought I'd opened them, but the tension wrench just slipped. I don't practice raking enough. I guess it's not really a skill that I need. There we go. We got him open. Yeah, it's not really a skill that I need, but it's kind of fun to do sometimes. And when I see bitting like that, that kind of mimics the rakes, I think that's the time that I get the rakes out and have a play with them. Anyway, thanks for picking with me today, and I will leave a little DMAC logo up there for you to subscribe. That's always appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.